It seems that the UFL might be starting its community engagement early this year by asking fans what they'd like to see as mascots for their new teams. Right now, there's been posts from the Louisville Kings and the Houston Gamblers asking fans what they'd like to see their mascots look like and what kind of names they'd like to be called. Along with these posts is fun team-specific graphics as well as language that really ties into the team identity that the league seems to be going for. It's very interesting to me that right now it's only 2 of the 4 new/rebranded teams that are posting this. I bet that we'll see the Orlando Storm and the Columbus Aviators post similar things pretty soon. And on the topic of mascots, when looking back at the league's history, it seems like mascots were more of a focus for the USFL, as with the XFL they were more focused on the pure football environment, playing all their games and markets but without cheerleaders, without mascots, very much just players on the field. Whereas the USFL was more focused in pageantry. They had cheerleaders leading cheers on the sidelines and mascots moving around, although I think this was to make up for a hub system as they didn't play in all of their markets. But after the merger, we've seen the UFL adopt more of that USFL focus on mascots. As last season we saw a couple of teams in the XFL get new mascots, like the Battlehawks getting Archie B. Hawk, the Renegades getting Billy the Bandit, and the Brahmas getting Bravo the Bull. The only XFL team that didn't get one that is currently still in the league is the DC Defenders. And this seems to fit the UFL's new push for total new visual refreshes for all the teams coming up in the 2026 season, as we'll be getting completely new uniforms for all 8 franchises and new stadiums that will hopefully spice up the in-game environment. So since we're trying to have fun with this, I thought it would be good to go through and give my predictions for what I think some of the mascots may look like for these new franchises. Now, we don't really know exactly what these mascots may look like. Hopefully the league is actually taking fan feedback and not just looking for names to place on set mascots that they already have. Of course, in the past we've seen that the league largely hasn't reused mascots, so more than likely they'll probably just be new designs, but given that I'm more of a history guy, I'm going to go off of previous designs that we've seen to maybe see how they could adapt certain things or how similar looks could come about to be reused for different teams. And of course, we'll be covering all of the teams that currently do not have mascots. So starting off, we'll be covering the Louisville Kings. My prediction isn't going to be very controversial. I think it's going to be pretty safe. I think that they're going to go with a green horse mascot, probably with a crown, probably just like we see in the logo. I think it's going to tie in with the Kentucky Derby, and it's probably going to be pretty similar to Stanley and Birmingham. So I'm personally a proponent for some horse hate rivalry, between Louisville and Birmingham. So I'm not saying I want to see Stanley and like King Louis or whatever they call this mascot, like fist fight maybe, but it'd be fun to see some sort of beef between them. Coming in next is my personal team is the Houston Gamblers. This is my prediction that I'm probably most confident about, as I think that we'll see a revamped Ace from the USFL. This is the mascot that the Houston Gamblers had in 2022 and 2023, and overall it was a pretty okay design. I mean, it's kind of like a cowboy guy. It fits in with like the Western gambling kind of theme that the USFL seems to really be trying to push. I think likely we may not see him be called Ace. He might have a new name. He might, I think the colors are going to be different. I think they might just do like a updated look. I don't know if they'll have exactly the same mascot, but I think it's probably just going to be a guy, and I think he's going to be like a cowboy gambling kind of guy. More or less, it's going to be Ace or a spiritual successor. I feel pretty confident about that. Personally, I think it would be fun if we see something that's a little bit more out there, like maybe something that's a reference to oil. I know that there's some theories about the Gamblers being named after like gambling as it relates to, looking for oil, so I think something that can get away from that like literal like gambling, like poker kind of symbolism, I think can be better. Up next is the Columbus Aviators. This one can be tough as, Aviators is a pretty broad name as it can apply to a lot of different things, so I think we could see it be like a plane or a pilot or a bird or a bunch of different stuff like that. Personally, if it was up to me, I think it would be really fun to reuse the skipper look that the Memphis Showboats had with their mascot, but probably just replace his captain's hat with aviator goggles. I mean, personally, I just really like Skipper's design, so I think having some sort of animal thing would probably give the Aviators a little bit more personality than just, being a pilot guy or something. But this is something that I think can go in a lot of different ways. I'm not super behind my prediction as being the one that's going to actually turn out to be true. Next on the list, I think for the Orlando Storm, it's also going to be tough to predict, as I think it depends on what direction they want to go with when it comes to the name. As in the logo, it could be a hurricane, it could be a lightning themed thing. Personally, I kind of hope that they trend towards lightning. I talked about it before in a previous video that I just really like the lightning look, and I think it's something that with it being primarily focused on their logo, it might be something that they go towards. Personally, I had a hard time trying to decide exactly which mascot would fit best with this. I was thinking something maybe inspired off of like Dave the Wave that was the Breakers' old mascot. maybe lightning themed, like maybe we give him like a little bit more of like the Orlando Storm purple and orange, and you give him a little bit more of a defined lightning shape rather than like a wavy look. It could just as well as be a hurricane to be like Hurricane Harry or something, but I think this is one that can go in a lot of different directions. We could also just see like a Florida animal, like like a gator or some sort of bird. I think these are going to be tough to see. And for the final team that doesn't have a mascot right now, it's going to be the DC Defenders. I mean, personally, I don't know if they really need one. I mean, their fan base is already pretty cranked up as it is, and in my heart, I think I would really love to either see a snake or lemon given the team's history. Obviously, the snake would tie into the beer snake, but with it being so prominent, I think that can be its own thing. The other thing with the lemon, I think it ties back to the first season of the XFL 2.0 in 2023, where fans, when playing against the Seattle Sea Dragons, threw lemons on the field, and it's kind of been a motif for a lot of the fan base. You'll still see signs and you'll still see people wearing lemon patterns, so I think having some sort of lemon guy might be a little bit different. It might be fun, it might be a nice wink to the fan base and a tie back to their history. Another easy answer I think that you could have, a pretty lazy one in my opinion, but one that might work, is just to have the old Generals mascot come in and just do like a logo swap, as I think he would have a pretty similar shade of red. Again, this is just another thing of like, oh, it's just a guy, so I don't think the league will go with that, as it wouldn't be as much fun. And if the league wants to maximize fun, I personally think it would be hilarious to see if they revived the Blob from the Stars to be their mascot for the Defenders. I mean, personally, I hope that they keep it reserved for the Stars in case they return to Philadelphia at Subaru Park, which is going to be talked about more in my next video, so stay tuned for that. I think regardless of how the mascots turn out, I think that this is a fun way to build up the game day experience for these new teams, and also it helps with community outreach, beyond just having the community have more buy-in, by having a real hand in creating what's effectively going to be the friendly face of the team in their community. I think it's just something that can help a lot with the league reaching out and really getting the word out that they're playing these games, and can really get the community fired up about this. I know that in Michigan, their mascot, Pablo the Panther, had a reading program where students that read a certain number of books, if they're involved in the program, would be able to win free tickets to the games. I think that's something that's a lot of fun. I'd love to see that extended to other markets. And this is one of those things where these mascots, even if they're not like the most important part of the game day experience, can still have an important aspect in the community. I know personally, I went to a Houston SaberCats game, RIP SaberCats, where it was the mascot Scratch. It was his birthday, so they had a bunch of Houston mascots show out, and it was a lot of fun looking around and seeing like the who's who of Houston teams around. And the entire time I was thinking like, man, if only the Roughnecks had a mascot, he could be here. That could be a good way to spread the word about the Roughnecks playing their season next season. So I mean, we ended up getting rebranded as the Gambler, so, who knows. Generally, there was good cross-promotion between the different teams, but, this is just one of those things where it's like, oh, if you just have a mascot out at an event, even at a booth, that can get a little bit more eyes on the league than maybe having some players, and it can be easier to send out, like, just a guy in a suit to be a little bit goofy and have a little bit fun with kids or have fun at different events. I'm really excited that the league is doing this. I think it'll be really fun to see exactly what happens. So what do you guys think should be names for the new mascots? Let me know down in the comments, and of course, if you have good ideas, please reach out to the original social media pages. I know they have a post on Twitter. I believe they have something on Instagram. So leave a comment, let the league know exactly what you're thinking, because your idea could end up being the official name or look for the league and for your spring football team. So I think this is a really fun time. This is a really interesting way that the league is going about it. Huge fan, and hopefully we see more of this continue as the offseason continues. As always, thanks for watching.